My parents humiliated me at their wedding anniversary, so I left forever.
Welcome to a Karate story. Today's story is wild. Imagine being your family's invisible daughters and Free's housekeeper, only to be banned from your family vacation to stay home and babysit. So, she worked on forever. Now, she's a successful artist, and they just show up at her show. What's that then?
I'm a 32-year-old female, and I have been the invisible daughter my entire life. I don't say that for sympathy. It's just factually true, and you need to understand it before I tell you what happened last Saturday. My sister, S, is 2 years younger than me. She married a lawyer, has 2 kids, lives in a beautiful house 20 minutes from my parents. She is, by every measure my family uses, the successful one. The one who made it? I'm a freelance accountant. I live alone. I have never been married. By my family standards, I am the one who didn't quite figure it out. What that has meant in practice for most of my adult life is that I am the one who shows up. I cook for family dinners. I clean up after them. I watch S's kids when she and her husband want a weekend away. I drive my parents to appointments. I organize the gatherings nobody else wants to organize. I am, as I found out recently in the worst possible way, what my mother considers the help. But I'll get to that. Last Saturday was my parents' 40th wedding anniversary. They threw a dinner party, around 30 guests, extended family, old friends, neighbors. I had spent the days helping my mom prepare, cook most of the food, set the tables, organize the playlist. I did all of this without being asked because that is what I always do. Halfway through dinner, my dad stood up to make a toast. He talked about 40 years of marriage, about family, about how lucky he was. Then he announced, as a surprise, that he was taking the entire family to Hawaii the following week for a second celebration. Everyone cheered. My cousins were excited. S was clapping. I smiled and leaned over to my aunt, the only person in my family I actually trust, and quietly asked what time the flight was so I could check if I needed to move any client calls my dad heard. He looked at me from across the table and said, in front of every single person in that room, you don't need to know the flight time. You're not coming. You're staying here to watch us as kids while we're gone. The table went quiet. I waited for someone to say something. My mom looked at her plate. S reached for her wine glass. My aunt stared at my dad like she couldn't believe what she just heard. Nobody said a word. I put my napkin on the table, excused myself to the guests, picked up my coat, and left. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I just left. Here's the part I haven't told my family. For the past 3 years, I have been secretly doing photography on the side. It started as something I did alone on weekends with a second-hand camera. I photograph women, specifically women who are overlooked. Caregivers, cleaners, women working night shifts, women sitting alone in waiting rooms. Women doing everything for everyone and being seen by no one. I have an Instagram account under a pseudonym. Just over 12,000 followers. My family has no idea it exists. I never told them because I already knew what they would say. That it wasn't practical. That it was a hobby, not a career. So I kept it to myself. A few weeks before the anniversary dinner, I was using my mom's laptop to print some documents. I wasn't snooping. An email tab was already. Opened that it was from my mom to Eshe. Referred to me as our free housekeeper, she. Wrote that I should be grateful. The family gives me things to do since I don't. Not much else going on. She said Esh shouldn't feel bad about asking me to babysit because that's just what she's there for. I closed the laptop and didn't say anything. I sat with it for weeks. Then came the anniversary dinner. The night I walked out, my aunt followed me to my car. She was the only one who did. She told me she had watched this happen my entire life and that she was sorry she hadn't said something sooner. She told me I could come stay with her for a while if I needed to get out. She lives in Carmel-by-the-Sea, California. I went home that night, looked around my apartment, and started packing. So am I the asshole for walking out of my parents' anniversary dinner without an explanation? And genuinely, should I have confronted my mom about the email directly, or did I handle this the right way by just leaving quietly? Has anyone else had a moment where you realized your family had a completely different idea of who you were to them? How did you come back from that, or did you too long? Didn't read. Dad announced a Hawaii trip at their anniversary dinner. When I asked about the flight, he told me in front of 30 guests I wasn't invited and that my job was to stay home and babysit S's kids. I had also found an email where my mom called me the family's free housekeeper. I walked out. Moving to California. Edit. To clarify, I did not cause a scene at the dinner. I excused myself politely to the guests and left quietly. The only dramatic thing about my exit was that I don't plan on reversing it. Edit 2. My mom has been texting my aunt asking where I am. I had told her I'm safe and left it at that. I haven't responded to anything. Good night, everyone. We'll update when there's something to update.
Oh my gosh, he would talk about at dinner. I am literally shaking for OP. Imagine spending days cooking for your parents, only for them to treat you like servants in front of everyone. And that's email? Calling your own daughter's free help a Jesne Flel mean. But hung on because Obi has a secret. She's not just an accountant, she's a talented photographer with a huge follow. She's jet backhoe bags from California, and I am so here for this glow up. Will she finally find the fame she deserves, or will her family ruin everything again? Drop your popcorn, guys, because of this one is where it gets spicy.
Update 1 high. A lot has happened. I sent out an update, so here it is. I moved to Carmel-by-the-Sea about 3 weeks after the dinner. My aunt has a small house 2 blocks from the water and gave me the spare room without making me feel like a burden, which is something I hadn't experienced in a long time. A few weeks after I arrived, I reached out to a local gallery owner, M, who had commented on my Instagram a while back saying he'd be interested in showing my work someday. I figured I had nothing to lose. He responded within 2 days. We met for coffee. By the end of the conversation, he had offered me a solo exhibition. The show is called Invisible Women, and I spent 6 weeks preparing, printing, framing, writing the wall text. Maya had helped me hang everything the night before. Standing in the middle of that gallery at 11 o'clock at night, seeing my work all together in one space for the first time, I cried for about 10 minutes. Good crying that opening night was last Friday. About an hour into the event, I looked up from a conversation and saw my parents walk through the door. Behind them was S, visibly pregnant. I had no idea she was expecting again. Behind her, her husband. Nobody had told me they were coming. I watched them move through the room. My mom looked at the photographs without expression. My dad didn't say much. S made her way over to me, and the first thing she said in the middle of my opening night, in front of guests and to people from the local press, was that she needed me to come home because she was pregnant with her. Third and couldn't manage without help. I looked at her for a moment. Then I took out my phone, opened my email, and read my mother's message out loud. The one about the free housekeeper. The one about how I should be grateful for being given things to do, that the room went quiet. Then I said, "You don't see me as family. You see me as an employee, and employees can quit." S told me I was being dramatic. My mom started crying. My dad said nothing. My aunt appeared from somewhere behind me and calmly suggested that if they weren't there to support the exhibition, they should probably leave. They left. I went back to my guests. What else was I going to do? We'll update again once I've had time to process the rest of it.
I am streaming. Did she really just read her mom's Sirach email out loud in the middle of her own art gallery? Yes, girl. That's what the most savage I use moment ever. And her sister, S, still trying to make everything about her pregnancy, even as OP speak tonight? Some people are just unbelievable. The family is officially in shock, and the drama is picking. But wait, there's more. OP just dropped a final update about the asthma and a subscribe message from her dad that changes everything. Is it too little? Too late? Let's wind down in the final part of today's summary.
Update the final update because I think people deserve the full picture. The exhibition ran for 3 weeks. On opening night alone, I sold 8 photographs, just over $8,000 total from that evening. By the time the show closed, it had been covered by the local publications and 1 regional arts magazine. Emma's already asked about a second show. I'm not going to pretend this is a movie ending. My life is not suddenly perfect. I'm still figuring out freelance work at a new city, still in my aunt's spare room, still processing things I spent 32 years not letting myself think about. But here is what happened with my family. My mom called 4 times the morning after the opening. I didn't answer. I sent a long text about how I had humiliated everyone in public. I read it once and put my phone down as my dad sent me an email 3 days later. For sentences. He said he had looked up my Instagram. He said he hadn't known I could do something like this. He said he was sorry about how the Hawaii trip had been handled. And then, I'm proud of you. I have read that email probably 20 times, and I still don't know how to feel about it. It's not nothing, but it's also not everything. I'm not cutting anyone off formally. No letters, no declarations. I'm just living my life in a place where no one expects me to be useful in order to be present. My aunt made me dinner last night just because it was Tuesday. That was the whole reason. I think that's what I was missing all along, is to everyone who commented, thank you. It helped more than I expected to feel like I wasn't crazy for finally walking out the door, not the asshole. But I think the more important question was never whether I was the asshole. It was whether I was ever going to let myself leave. Turns out the answer was yes to long. Didn't raid. Exhibition was a success. Sold 8 photos. Made over $8,000 opening night. Got press coverage. Mom called. S sent angry texts. Didn't respond to either. Daddy mailed saying he's proud. I don't know what to do with that yet. Still in California. Not going back.
Wow, what an ending. I'm so incredibly proud of the OP. She showed $8,000 worse apart, got famous in the new city, and most importantly, she finally found a home where she loved just for being herself. Seeing her success like this is the best revenge ever, don't you think? In this email from her dad, man, that touch. Hearing I'm proud of you after 32 years of being ignored, it a lot to recess. I totally get why Oprah isn't rushing to forgive him. A few words can't just erase a lifetime of being treated like an invisible housekeeper. But hey, at least she's living her best life in California now, eating dinner with her cool aunt just because it's Tuesday. That's a real dream right there. But I want to know what you think. Popcornrest bro. If your family treated you one half for your whole life, could you ever go back after a simple apology? Or would you stay in California and never look back? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading them. If you love this story of Justin and finding yourself, hit that like button and subscribe to Boken Red Friday Stories. It's helpful so much. Thanks for watching. Drop your book on, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.